guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping in alongside the weekly reset for Destiny 2 on the 25th of March. We've had some of the weekly maintenance today. We do have a new game update, so we'll cover some of the changes there. And otherwise, of course, we're in the final week for Act 2, and also for Guardian Games for the year, so a few bits of content will be wrapping up in the coming days. We'll talk about things worth knowing there. Otherwise, we'll cover feature rewards, the Nightfall, endgame activities for the week, as well as vendor inventories in the video. So if you guys enjoy this one, a rating below really does help us on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed, and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But now, let's get into it. And so before we talk about the patch and things, worth mentioning, we do have the Act 2 finale this week, so the last set of steps for the story in Act 2. They will continue in Act 3 though, which will be dropping next week on the 1st of April, so not a whole bunch more to say on that front for the moment. Although, as I've mentioned before, we probably will get a few updates and maybe some content reveals on Thursday with the TWID relating to the content that we'll get access to next week, so I'll keep you posted with that. Otherwise, it's also the last week of Guardian Games, so if there are any rewards, triumphs, or other things related to Guardian Games that you want to get done before the event goes away, be sure to do it before the 1st of April. Next up though, we now have the patch notes for the update today, which is update 8252. So, starting out initially for episode Heresy and Court of Blades, they say they fixed a potential softlock when defeating a challenger with 0 seconds left in the countdown timer. On top of that, for Kel's Vengeance, they fixed the problem where the Devouring Essence debuff can duplicate during the fight against Skolas. Finally though, for Raids and Dungeons, an issue where Vesper's Host would not be featured in the weekly rotations, so that one hopefully coming up this week. We'll check it out in a moment. Otherwise though, they also introduced the changes for competitive. That includes the point gains and losses adjustment, as well as the solo versus a fire team loss forgiveness issue. We did actually speak about some of those changes in a couple of separate videos, so we won't list them all here, although you can always pause the video and have a quick read if you want. Otherwise though, additionally, for customization, they reverted the recent change to the Hunter's Astral Stasis Drake helmet, and they fixed an issue where the Mark of the Fallen Star ornament would improperly disable effects on some exotic armors. For weapons though, they fixed an issue where Lotus Eater showed an incorrect number on its kill tracker. That was a funky one. And for perks, an issue where Discord was not granting ammo to glaives while active on projectile kills. So, a couple of positives there. Finally though, for exotics, on the Deterministic Chaos, they fixed an issue where the anti-champ capability was misbehaving with anti-champ mods and Radiant. Then for Thorn, an issue where the refined soul buff was being removed upon stowing the weapon. For power and progression though, and Guardian ranks, they fixed the problem where the Master Spelunker objective stated that Vesper's Host and Not Sundered Doctrine was required for Guardian rank 11. And finally for collections, they say the Frostflower Sparrow will now properly appear in collections. So some minor fixes overall, a couple of useful ones. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Just checking in on the Vesper's hosting, it doesn't appear to be featured this week. After the patch, we were wondering if it was going to be one of the featured dungeons this week. According to the director, that isn't the case for the moment, so we'll have to see what happens in the future. Over to the Eververse store though, Bungie are advertising the status armor ornaments right here up front for 1500 silver, if anyone fancies picking them up. We'll focus on Bright Dust stuff though for the rest of the video. We've got Just Juggling, the exotic emote right here for 3250 Bright Dust. Of course, the last week of Guardian Games items right here. There's also the Petrified Legendary emote, which is up for 700 Bright Dust, if we can finally get a preview of that one. There it is, finally. Rather interesting. There's also the Elemental Contestant Entrance Transmat effect for 450 Bright Dust right here on the front page. And then, for the front page of shaders, we've got Fighting Colors up for grabs, which is 300 Bright Dust this week, as always. There is also Coronal Bloom up for grabs for the same cost right here, which is very red indeed. Let us know your thoughts on any of those. To the main Bright Dust section, though, right here, we've got the Applause and Accolades multiplayer emote, which is 4250 Bright Dust, if you fancy grabbing that one. Additionally, there is the Touchdown Dance legendary emote up for grabs this week as well, and that one is going to be 700 Bright Dust. And then we have the Winged Victory exotic ship, a new one for this year. As I was mentioning last week, they've been sold for silver so far in the event, but they're now up for Bright Dust. That one is 2000. Also the Hawker Shell, which is 2850 Bright Dust, if you fancy a very curious hot dog thing going on. Then there is the runner-up exotic Sparrow here for 2500 Bright Dust this week. And we also have the ornament for Vex Mythoclast from Guardian Games, the Clast of its own, which is 1250 Bright Dust. I kind of prefer the original skin for the weapon, to be honest. Then there is the Trophy Projection, Ghost Projection, up for grabs for 1500 Bright Dust. We're getting cut off as we land in the tower, as always, so we'll skip ahead nice and slow through the menus right here. That's the trophy projection anyway. For the second page of shaders, there is Verdant Chrome up for grabs, which is 300 Bright Dust from back in the Revelry. Also, Verdant Crown is available this week if you fancy picking any of these older shaders up. And then we've got the Rivalry White Sand available, which could be quite a nice shader right there. And finally, Reef Maid is available this week as well. So let us know if you'll grab any of those. But finally, there is the Cherry Blossom entrance Transmat effect, as well as the Cyberclass entrance, and finally the Stalwart Sigil. And all of those will be 450 Bright Dust. So let us know if you'll grab anything from the store this week. Let's give Banshee a quick visit while we're here. Why not? We've got Hollow Words with Slideways and Backup Plan. Then there is the Enigma Glaive. Didn't think this was one that Banshee could actually sell. It's got Tilting at Windmills and Unrelenting, just curious. And then there is the Sail Spy Pitch Glass with Rapid Hit and Volt Sharp. Seventh Seraph Saw, which has got Zen Moment Vorpal Weapon, as well as the Bad Omens with Fail Prep and Genesis. And finally, Hollow Denial, which has got Well-Rounded and Dragonfly. So if you want to grab any of those, of course you can, but keep in mind the rolls will change through the week. And our last vendor visit for the moment is Shader 1 down here in the Annex. We've got some of the old Forsaken and Tangled Shore pieces up for grabs this week if you need any. But for shaders, there is Gold Leaf available this week. These will be 10,000 Glimmer, this one from back in Season of Opulence. We also have New Pacific Sync available this week as well. And very finally, there is the Dead Orbit Camo for anyone after older faction shaders. Some final mentions for the week right here, but the Nightfall this week will be PsyOps Battleground on the Moon, so that'll be an interesting one. It's the first time it's come up this season. The featured reward is going to be the Slammer, so if you're still after a good drop of that, of course the Adept variant is also available from Grandmasters, then it'll be worth grinding for it this week. Otherwise, the exotic mission is Node Override Avalon, where we can pick up the Vexcalibur and all of its upgrades, so something else to chase down if you still need it. And then we've got the Vault of Glass, which can drop the Vex Mythoclast, and Crota's End. And both of those raid activities will be totally farmable when they're featured this week. Otherwise, Warlord's Ruin is also up, so that's an opportunity to pick up the Buried Bloodline. The final mention, though, is for Lost Sectors, and today we've got the Broken Deep featured. Then it'll be Blooming Deep for the 26th of March, Bunker E15 for the 27th, and Petition on the 28th, which is followed by Vel's Labyrinth in the Cosmodrome for the 29th, Exodus Garden 2A on the 30th of March, and finally, Aphelion's Rest on the 31st. So if you need those for any of the world drops or chances at exotic engrams on solo clears, they'll all be up for grabs this week. For today, though, guys, that is what we have to round up. So, as always, I hope you found the video helpful. If you have, a rating really does help us on the channel. Be sure as well to get subscribed and I'll keep you up to date with everything related to the game. But otherwise, thank you for watching and I hope